Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, new this morning on Sunrise, an active scene on Highway 99 in Mcfarland after a shooting. Mcfarland police are asking for your help. We'll tell you what we know so far. A dire warning about coronavirus from the head of the CDC as the nation's 3 largest states, Florida, Texas, and California, are seeing an explosion in new cases. And the House of Representatives passes the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act of 2020, what it does and the uphill battle it faces in the Senate. Still ahead on this Friday, June 26th, 2020. Good morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen. We'll be alongside Alex Fisher and Kevin Shred. Alex joining us in just a few minutes. But first, we're talking about the weekend weather because I'm sure it's on everyone's minds. I'm looking forward to that cool down that's promised us, but we still have a little bit to trudge through here, huh, Kev?
Yeah, yesterday we hit 104 degrees in Bakersfield. Again, normally we should be right around 93 this time of year, so we were definitely above that. 112, the record set back in 1957. We'll see a slight dip today before we're seeing temperatures tomorrow near the 104, 105 mark, and that's why the heat advisory is still in place until 8 p.m. tomorrow night. Take you outside right now, the Adventist Health Cam into downtown. Beautiful Padres, still a little dark out there. Sun will be coming up soon for us, and you can see here on the satellite and radar, not much to show you. As we go throughout the day, though, with an area of low pressure just to the east of us and the rotation of it, we may see some clouds drift through the Kern River Valley, through the Tehachapi and desert areas, and we can't rule out a slight chance of a thunderstorm. All that activity stayed north of us yesterday. We didn't see any thunderstorms in Kern County, but you could see the cumulus clouds in the distance. 78 in Bakersfield right now, a northeast wind at 6. And as we take a look at the hour-by-hour forecast for you today, upper 70s by 7 a.m., 87 at noon, and by 3 o'clock will be sunny and temperatures. This is actually the mountain forecast for today. For some reason, the computer wanted to switch it. So these are mountain temperatures. I wish those would be Bakersfield temperatures, right? And Tehachapi, 57 degrees right now, a southeast wind at 5. And guess what? This is probably going to be the valley temperatures. And yes, as you can see throughout the day, we will look for a few clouds. But other than that, we are just looking hot. I'll have more details on your forecast. That's coming up in just a little bit, and then I'll have a little talk with the weather computer as well. Maddie?
All right, we're all dealing with some issues this morning. We have some breaking news to bring you, though, this Friday. A deadly crash happened in Mcfarland early this morning. We've just sent a 17 News crew to this scene, so we'll bring you a live picture in just a few minutes, but I want to show you where exactly it happened. So here's in relation to Bakersfield. Of course, like we said, this was in Wasco. It's off Highway 43 and Sherwood Avenue. It happened around 3:30 this morning. CHP is on scene. We have a 17 News crew on scene as well. There are reports that 2 vehicles went into a canal there, and at least 1 person has died, according to the CHP page. Our photographer on scene right now is getting some more information from CHP, so we'll bring that to you along with the live picture coming up in just a few minutes. Meantime, also in Mcfarland, an active scene on Highway 99 after a shooting last night. It happened late last night near the Sherwood Avenue off-ramp of the 99. Mcfarland police officers say they're investigating, but they haven't told us if they found anyone who was hurt. They're asking for your help. If you have any information, call police at 792-2121. This morning, a story's generating some heated debate on social media. A CHP officer was caught on camera killing a bear along Highway 58. A warning, this video may be hard to watch for some viewers. The video was sent to our newsroom. The viewer told us her husband was one of the few drivers on Highway 58 near Hart Flat. She was concerned about why the officer shot and killed the bear because to her it didn't seem like it was threatening anyone. CHP Mojave responded to 17 News saying the bear was actually hit by a car before the video and had to be put down. CHP says they notified wildlife officials to help remove the bear's body from the highway. The Department of Fish and Wildlife says it's working with CHP on the incident. The county's chief administrative officer says there are no plans right now to furlough any county employees. County employees got an email regarding a virtual meeting scheduled for next week for all employees, and some immediately feared for the worst. Ryan Alsop says Monday's meeting is being held on Microsoft Live so employees can ask questions of him directly. Alsop will talk about the preliminary budget for 2020-2021, accomplishments made since the pandemic hit Kern County, and what can be expected going forward. He says furloughs remain an option in the future, as they do for many municipalities staggered by the coronavirus and facing budget shortfalls. However, there are currently no plans for furloughs in Kern County. It's been nearly a week since a dad from LA was swept into the Kern River, but the search continues. KCSO has been looking for David Godinez since Saturday near Cow Flat Creek. The Godinez family says they were visiting from Los Angeles for Father's Day when David went into the river but never came out. He was last seen by his youngest daughter. Search and rescue teams have been looking each morning, but so far he's still not been found. Godinez is the second person to be lost in the river this year. The first man's body was recovered last week. This morning, we'll get another update from public health officials on the latest coronavirus cases in Kern County, but here's a look at where we stand right now. Another 74 new cases were announced yesterday, and one more person died. That brings our total to 64 deaths so far in Kern County, 4,192 total cases. We're almost certain to surpass 4,200 with today's update. Of those cases, nearly 3,000 people have recovered. More than 1,000 are isolated at home, but there are 70 being treated in the hospital. 43 of those people are in intensive care. The county announced a new tip line specifically for people to voice concerns about local nursing facilities. We have it on your screen right now, 868-0555. The county says at least 29 of the people who've died from COVID-19 have come from nursing homes. It's an issue we've covered extensively here at KGET, particularly one facility, Kingston Healthcare. The county's emergency services manager, Georgiana Armstrong, says until now the county had not heard enough from the people who are actually inside the homes.
But we recognize now that a key stakeholder group is not represented, and that would be residents in these facilities and their families and the staff working at these facilities.
Armstrong says they want to hear suggestions and concerns about what should be done in these facilities. She says they'll also have an email address for you to contact and announce that next week. County Administrative Officer Ryan Alsop also said businesses need to do more to get customers to put on face masks to slow the spread of the coronavirus. He suggested businesses put up signs and be firm with customers who don't want to cover their faces.
It's an easy thing to do. Post a sign on the door. No shoes, no shirt, no mask, no service.
The county has not formally made any moves to require masks beyond the governor's mandate. Farm workers walked off the job in a sign of protest against a company with dozens of infected employees. This was the scene at Primex Farms in Wasco. As we reported this week, the company had more than 30 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Today, protesters picketed outside the Pistachio plant, demanding better protection for workers. The United Farm Workers Union was there to support them. Armando Elines says the plant's workers believe there are more cases than Primex has actually disclosed, but they're afraid to speak up. The Bakersfield City School District says a member of its education center tested positive late yesterday. The center is closed until Monday. The district says they'll sanitize the office before it reopens. The district's Human Resources Department is trying to reach other employees who may have been exposed. Still ahead, a local OBGYN placed on probation after allegations his acts led to a new mother's death. The heartbreaking events that led to this disciplinary action and what comes next for the doctor, coming up. All right, thanks so much, Kevin, and taking you back out live now to that breaking news we first told you at the top of the newscast here, a deadly crash in Mcfarland. Let's take a live look at the scene. This is off Highway 43 and Sherwood Avenue. You can see there are officers on scene right now. It happened around 3:30 this morning. According to CHP, those vehicles went into a canal across the road there, and at least one person has died. It appears, according to CHP, that it was a BMW and a Dodge Ram pickup truck that were involved in this crash. Again, happening around 3:30 this morning in Mcfarland at Sherwood Avenue and Highway 43. Our 17 News photojournalist Juan Corona is on scene, and he's gathering information for us. So as soon as we learn more, we'll bring that to you here on Sunrise. A call to action over a local doctor's deadly mistakes. More on what family members of a woman who died in childbirth want to see done. But first this morning, we'll leave you with a live look at Liberty High seniors receiving their diplomas last night. Hats off to all of our local grads. Welcome back here at 519. Today, the medical license of a Bakersfield OBGYN will officially be placed on probation for 5 years after allegations that gross negligence and repeated negligent acts led to a new mother's death. The same doctor previously was put on probation after allegations that gross negligence led to the deaths of 2 babies. 17's Amber Frias reports.
Dr. Arthur Park, a Bakersfield OBGYN with a history with the California Medical Board, will be placed on 5 years probation. While on probation, Park will be prohibited from delivering babies, acting as lead surgeon in outpatient surgery, treating women in late pregnancy, or engaging in the solo practice of medicine. Park is still allowed to practice gynecology. However, once his probation period starts, he must notify all new patients and current patients of the limits on his practice. We reached out to Dr. Park for comment. After multiple attempts to reach him, his medical staff told us he declined to comment. His lawyer also declined to comment. The case resulting in Dr. Park's probation involved 23-year-old Celeste Ortiz, who died after giving birth in September 2016. The baby was healthy, but an accusation filed by the medical board says Park's treatment of the young mother led to her death. The state's allegations say Park rushed the extraction of the mother's placenta, causing traumatic laceration to the cervix and uterus, which resulted in a hemorrhage. Ortiz died several hours after her baby was born. The medical board accused him of negligence and threatened to revoke his license. Park agreed not to contest the allegations if the medical board gave him a suspension instead of revoking his license. That's the same agreement he made with the medical board 16 years earlier, when he was accused in connection with the deaths of 2 babies in 1996. Those allegations say he induced labor too soon and didn't properly handle the deliveries. And there was a 4th allegation, this one in a lawsuit brought by a patient who died last year, while the most recent medical board case against Dr. Park was pending.
Every day we have to go through what it would be like to have him around and her be a mother because she was so excited.
Tracy Dominguez is one of the plaintiffs in the suit filed against Park last year regarding the death of her daughter Demi Dominguez and grandson Malachi. Tracy Dominguez is upset Park's license was not revoked and that the probation didn't go into effect sooner. According to the lawsuit, Demi Dominguez was treated by Dr. Park for swelling and elevated blood pressure April 15th. She was given medication and told to monitor her blood pressure at home and see another doctor on April 17th. On April 17th, she visited Dr. Hansi Yu as she was instructed. 2 days later, Demi Dominguez was brought back to the hospital after she was found unconscious at home. We tried reaching out to Dr. Yu's office multiple times, but his receptionist didn't put us through to him. They told us he had no comment and hung up the phone.
We walked up to labor and delivery, and that's when the nightmare began.
Demi died after delivering her baby boy. Her newborn son, Malachi, died later that day. The suit says Dr. Yu and Dr. Park were negligent and that they failed to properly evaluate the seriousness of Dominguez's condition.
I'll never trust doctors again, especially in Bakersfield.
The Dominguez family didn't know Park had been on probation earlier or that a second case was pending against him.
We would have never went to this office. Never went to this office if I would have known.
After her daughter and grandson's death, Dominguez has dedicated her time to try and make doctors' records more easily accessible.
If somebody would have done this for me and Demi, she would be alive. To save lives, to save mothers' lives, because mothers' lives matter.
That was 17's Amber Frias reporting. Still ahead, your 17 Business Watch, the nation's 3 biggest, are talking about Kern County's population boost from the pandemic. We'll be right back.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
With about 927,000 residents, Kern is the 11th most populous county in California. We were on pace just a few years ago to hit 1 million residents by 2022. The oil industry slump pushed that date back all the way to 2028. But now we have indications our pace of growth could speed up again, and for reasons you may not expect. Robert Price has more.
On the list of things COVID-19 has changed in Kern County, add this: population growth. That's a conclusion demographers are considering as the U.S. workforce embraces work-from-home options like never before. For about a decade, Bakersfield was one of the nation's fastest-growing cities, and Kern County one of its fastest-growing counties. The county's largest city, Bakersfield, doubled in population between the 1990 census and the 2010 census. The county's been growing by almost 10,000 people per year over the past 20 years. Current trends have Kern reaching 1 million residents by 2027 or 2028. But observers of population trends and lifestyle behavior say that 1 million figure could become a reality much sooner. How much sooner, no one can predict just yet, but 3 factors are pushing things along. One is the affordability of housing, a plus that local cheerleaders have been boasting about for a long time. Median housing prices in 4 California counties top $1 million. Kern County's a quarter of that. Real estate analyst Gary Crabtree puts it this way.
The median price of a home in California is over $600,000. So people could move to Bakersfield, telecommute, for half the price of what they would have to pay for another home someplace else.
Another is the rise in telecommuting. For years, slowly but surely, the nation's workforce has increased the number of hours worked from home. 5 million Americans currently spend at least half their working hours working from home, a 173% increase since 2005. That was the trend before factor number 3 came along, the COVID-19 pandemic, which sent millions of additional workers back to their home offices wherever they may be. Combine those factors, and what do you have? A surging work-from-home workforce that can upload a work assignment from a house with $1 million mortgage or a $250,000 mortgage. If the trend continues, might Kern County join the million population club a year earlier than expected? Maybe 2? Rob Ball, a demographer with the Kern Council of Governments, weighs in.
I think it's very possible that we could see another big influx in growth within the region for several reasons. One of them is the ability for telecommuting. Another is our good central location within the state. A third reason is to bring manufacturing back to our shores.
We'll be stuck where we are, though, unless the local economy can diversify from the big 2 of oil and ag. Could Kern County hit 1 million population in 2025, 2023? It all depends on how much and how fast COVID-19 innovations stick. In Bakersfield, Robert Price, 17 News.
We're back after the break. We could be looking at 23 million people infected, even though tests are only showing a fraction of that.
Our Washington correspondent Tracy Potts has more.
33 states have seen an increase in COVID-19 cases in the last week. The CDC director predicts it may actually be 10 times worse.
I jokingly say, or sarcastically say, if we didn't do tests, we'd look great. But you know what? It's not the right thing to do.
President Trump last night self-correcting again on whether the U.S. should do less testing. He's contradicting his own health experts.
It's going away.
And governors who see COVID-19 surging.
It's not something that just goes away. It's something that you got to understand, you got to live with.
The nation's 3 largest states, Florida, Texas, and California, are seeing an explosion of new cases.
We might feel like we're done with COVID-19, but COVID-19 isn't done with us.
Texas has hit the pause button on reopening. Houston is becoming a new hot spot. New cases have doubled there in less than a week.
The situation is bad. We're in the midst of a healthcare crisis.
And while many remain skeptical about wearing masks,
this is a planned pandemic. This is totally political, and you know it.
Medical experts are concerned about the surge among young adults. Also at risk, communities of color.
We're all in the same storm, but we sure ain't in the same boat.
Federal data shows African Americans are 4 times more likely to land in the hospital.
Turns out many states that required masks saw a drop in cases, and those that made masks optional
saw an increase. Tracy Potts, NBC News.